When we think about the great forces of history, we picture empires clashing, ideologies on the rise, revolutions painted in bright, vibrant colors. But what if I told you we've overlooked a force far more pervasive, a quieter power, one that has shaped the very world we all live in?
Just let that sink in for a moment. The walls are almost always painted beige. That quote is the key to our entire story today. We're about to uncover a power that has been hiding in plain sight for decades, a conqueror that won its empire not with a bang, but with a whisper. So, let's begin. This is the Unspoken Saga. What you are about to witness is the epic, the untold, the absolutely monumental story of a single color. A color that conquered the modern world by daring, quite deliberately, to say nothing at all.
Now, you have to understand, we are not just talking about a color. Not really. Beige is a cultural phenomenon. It's the quiet backdrop to our lives, the neutral territory where modern existence is built. It's like an unspoken agreement that we all made without ever speaking its name. And that, of course, brings us to the central question, the question that has haunted historians and designers for years. How did this incredibly unassuming shade rise from total obscurity to become the default setting for our entire world? Its origin is a momentous historical mystery that we are now going to solve. To understand its reign, we have to travel back, all the way back to its birth. And its story doesn't begin in a royal court or in some famous artist's studio. No, it begins in the humble fields of France. This is the genesis of a world-altering force. The secret is right there in its name, beige. It's French, and it originally just meant cloth left in its natural state. Undyed, unbleached. You see, it didn't begin as a choice. It began as the absence of one. It was a statement of pure, unadorned reality, raw, honest, and completely unassuming. And this timeline shows its fateful journey, from simple fabric to a powerful philosophy. It started humbly, 1857, just a color of French wool. But then you have the Victorian era, an absolute cacophony of ornate, overwhelming style. And as a reaction against all that chaos, a rebellion started brewing. By 1922, the modernists were rising up, and they demanded simplicity, clarity, and order. They needed a banner for their new, clean world, and they found it in beige. So you see, for them, choosing beige was a profound philosophical statement. In a world of noise, it offered silence. In a world of chaos, it provided order. It was the color of reason itself, stripping away all the excess to reveal only what was essential. And from this philosophical high ground, beige began its quiet, strategic conquest of modern life. It would build an entire empire not on aggression, but on simple inoffensiveness. And by the mid-1980s, its imperial domains were absolutely vast. It seized the corporate office park, it pacified the suburban living room, it colonized all those transient spaces of modern life, the doctor's waiting area, the inside of a rental car, the endless government hallways. Everywhere you looked, the empire of neutrality reigned supreme. But within this empire, great ideological battles were fought. Historians refer to this period as the Great Schism, a deep, passionate debate over its primary dialects. On one side, khaki, the color of purpose and utilitarian grit. On the other, ecru, the color of serene, sophisticated acceptance. The distinction, they argued, was everything. And the experts spoke about this with a fiery passion. To the untrained eye, sure, they might look nearly identical. But to a design theorist, they represented two fundamentally different worldviews, two different paths for the human soul. And these nuances, they remain a subject of intense debate to this day. The data, of course, confirms this utter domination. Just look. By 1990, in the heart of its corporate territory, beige controlled 78% of all office design. 78! This wasn't just a win. It was an unprecedented level of market share. Its authority was simply unquestioned. So it conquered the modern world. But how did it maintain that power? To understand its legacy, we have to shift from the history of its conquest to the philosophy of its silent, ongoing rule. Its core strategy is a concept called deliberate unobtrusiveness. And this idea reframes everything. See, beige isn't boring, it's tactical. Its neutrality is a cloak. It allows beige to wield enormous influence precisely because it never draws your attention. It commands the room by disappearing. It is nothing less than an architecture of submission. It creates environments that don't challenge, don't provoke, and don't inspire. They simply are. And in that state of simple existence, it quietly shapes our behavior.
This chart reveals its profound psychological effect. It doesn't just decorate a space, it engineers a state of mind. It fosters calm resignation in almost half of us, passive agreement in another third. It isn't the color of peace, it's the color of consensus, of quiet, utter compliance.
Which brings us to the final, profound question. For generations, we've dismissed it as bland, as safe, as a non-choice. But what if we were wrong? What if its complete lack of offense was, in fact, its greatest and most powerful offense? A weapon of mass subtlety.
So the next time you find yourself in an office, a waiting room, or a hallway, I want you to take a moment, look at the walls, and recognize that you are in the presence of greatness. You are standing in a territory governed by the silent, unassuming, and undisputed ruler of the modern aesthetic.